Hey girl, hey, I'm back. I just got off work. So I came back to finish, sharing my journey with you guys. So if you're new to my channel like everybody else is, because of course it's video number 2, my name is Free. I'm 45 and going through IVF. What a journey. So welcome to the tough guys. Welcome, to the girls that are ready to, just go through it all to have their babies, right? So in my last video, I was talking to you about the beginning of my journey. So I went to Brown's Fertility Clinic here in Orlando, Florida, who referred me to the doctor to do my tour reversal in Durham, North Carolina. All that happened in March of 2022. So I waited 4 or 5 months, so close to the 6 months. And then I went back. I was going back and forth through my GYN, not OBGYN, but GYN. Still getting blood work and everything else, because now I'm still not understanding why I'm not pregnant when usually, I'm the rabbit in the family. So, because I do have 4 kids, for those of you that are new. They're old, 28, 25, 21, and 13. So my thing was that I needed to find out what was taking so long in me getting pregnant, right? Because I usually, like I said, look at a dude and was pregnant. And it was just really hard to hear my OB tell me, well, not my OB, but my GYN tell me that I have diminished ovarian reserve. That means I'm out of eggs. Okay, so again, when you hear you're out of eggs, it's like so stressful and it drives you crazy, and you go through all of this stuff, and you really feel bad, right? It's such a bad feeling. It's devastating. It's like such a punch in the gut, being told that you can't have any more children or have any children at all. Like, it's just devastating, right? So my heart goes out to any of you guys who have recently heard that, but I'm here to bring you hope. So I still didn't understand. I didn't know the right questions to ask. Like, I just, and I'm one of those people that, oh, that's the doctor, he knows, and just not prying. So he was like, I mean, you're not out of eggs completely. You have some, but they're just really, really old. And he still didn't explain to me what that was. So it wasn't until I got into this journey and really going into the groups, the IVF groups on Facebook and stuff like that, and doing a lot of researching, Google becomes your best friend with this, that I realized that I have eggs. They're just old, right? They're as old as I am. So that's a 45-year-old egg. At the time when I was starting this process, I was 42 and a half. And I don't know, I didn't know enough about IVF or enough about the reproductive system to even like let that sink in. I'm still thinking there's something I can do, like I can have my baby on my own. All right, so we're still trying on our own. I still went doing the Chinese herbs, and I'm buying every tea and every whatchamacallit, and still nothing was working. So at this point, what did I do? Okay, so at this point, I got better insurance, and I started talking to Shady Grove Fertility in August of 23, right? So in August of 23, I had my first consult with Shady Grove. I think it was like July, end of July, beginning of August, that I had my first consult with Shady Grove. And I really love Dr. Davis. Rewind the tape. Before I went into Shady Grove, I went to this other fertility clinic here in Orlando, Florida. I forget their name right now. If I remember, I'll pin it on here. But he was, an African-American doctor like me, and I think his name is Dr. Nichols. And he was very, very educated. He did an hour consult with us. You know what I mean? So he really talked to us a lot. But again, I just wasn't understanding, right, how our bodies work, how IVF works, what, is a transfer and what is a retrieval or anything like that. I just wanted to get pregnant, So we discussed in that consult you know, what had happened with Brown's Fertility Clinic, because let's rewind the tape. I'm all over the place, but let's rewind the tape a little further. At Brown's Fertility Clinic, after I got my tubal reversal done, and then I went through a couple of months, 5 months of still not conceiving, so I went back to Brown's Fertility Clinic. That's the one right there. So I went back to Brown's Fertility Clinic and started a consult with them. Okay, so he's telling me go right into donor eggs, and that was just horrible for me, because like, and my husband, because it's like because we're ignorant to the IVF world, right? We're like, why can't I have my own babies, you know? What's the issue? So it was just pushed on us to do donor eggs, excuse me, and I was just like still devastated. So then they gave us the option of IUI. So I'm like, oh, okay. So then he told me, I remember the doctor telling me, you know, that I have a 5% chance of it working with an IUI. But I just never knew the explanation about the eggs, about the quality, about, you know, all that needed to be done. All I was told is you only need one. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we got on the Clomid, did Clomid, and went with our first IUI. And I just knew it was going to work. I just knew. And there it was. No baby. That hit me hard. I was just devastated. So then, okay, now I don't want to do anything anymore at that point, right? This was November or December of 2022. So now I'm back throwing my hands up in the air again. Now I'm back doing this. So, you know, my husband's one of those, it's going to happen. You know, God's going to let it happen. Just take your time. We're just going to keep trying on our own. And we're going to do this, that, and the third. And I'm like, okay. And I just really, really thought I could still, you know, have my own babies that way. Still not taking a deep dive into IVF. Like, even telling you guys a story now, I'm in my head, like, wondering, what in the world, what planet was I on? What was I thinking? Like, why didn't I go deeper into this? I don't know. So that IUI failed. That was a lot of money on meds. It was like $1,000 on medications. Brown's Fertility Clinic, I'm not going to bash them, but I really felt like a number. It was really a sweatshop. It was really hard talking to my nurse or talking to anyone, you know. They weren't rude, they weren't nasty. It was just difficult. And then that's when I went to the other clinic in Longwood here in Orlando, and when I met with Dr. Nichols. And his receptionist, it's just whatever. We wound up paying more money than I did at Brown's Fertility Clinic just to do an IUI, and just I had a sonogram and a saline something or another, and it was just a lot, and I didn't get anywhere. I actually, and he was talking to me about donor eggs too, well, but I didn't get anything else out of it. Like, nobody really sat me down and said, hey, listen, this is what's happening with your body. All right, nothing to feel bad about. It's just, this is what happened. This is normal, right? And then these are your choices. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do. This is how much this costs. This is how much that costs. This is how much insurance covers. This, I didn't have any of that. I was just basically going on a whim and off of whatever I would find on Google. Because even then, I wasn't in my Facebook groups. I was on the chats on Flow and Premom. And them chats drive you crazy. I'm going to do a video on them, Flow and all the apps. It's just crazy. It's a crazy world. So again, overwhelmed, failed IUI, and I'm just devastated. I'm back at my GYN, and he's still telling me the same story. I still don't have any education. I still don't have anything. So me and my husband just decided to take a break from whatever parts we played in the fertility world. And we just felt like, not we didn't feel like, but what else was there to do? I don't know anybody that's gone through IVF, right? I don't have any friends that's gone through IVF. I don't have anybody at work. And, you know, at first talking about IVF was like, to me, it felt like a bad thing. Like, you know, like you were doing some kind of secret drug or something. I don't know where my head was at, but I wasn't educated. I didn't know anybody. So cool. Fast forward, we just decided that we're just gonna keep living our lives, right? And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So again, every month, here I am. And you know, my husband's one of those people that he doesn't really show a lot of like emotions. Like, you know when he's happy and you know when he's upset, but he's not the type like me to get all giddy, you know, and be like, oh my God, excited, right? So, but I did see the twinkle in his eye, you know, the couple of times that I was like, I'm late, you know? And these apps just do you so dirty because you don't really even be late. My cycle is a 28-day cycle. Like, why this thing is telling me I'm getting my period in 9 days, I don't know, but they wasn't too far off either. But it just drives you crazy. So usually my period is like clockwork. And then there was this one day in 2023, I think this had to have been like March or April, or a little bit, yeah, March or April. And my body went through like a reset cycle is what I call it, where my period was crazy late, like stupid late. And I'm counting the days, and I'm counting the days, and I'm counting the days, and now I'm like 13 days, 14 days, 15 days, 17 days late, 18 days late, you know, and I'm taking test after test after test, and it's negative. I mean, stark white. Like, I think, you know, all of this process is bad, you know what I mean? And I'm nowhere near gonna compare, make the comparison to a miscarriage or a stillbirth or anything, you know. God bless all of you that have gone through this. Have gone through that, you know. My heart goes out to you. But girl, every time you take a pregnancy test and you see that stark white, I mean bleach white, one control line, one line, not a splash of a color somewhere. It just, your heart sinks. Like those 3 minutes, excuse me, I get burpy when I talk a lot. Those 3 minutes of just waiting for the line to come up, waiting and waiting and wait, like it just seems like forever. And then you come back and your hopes are everywhere. Like your heart feels like it just stopped in your chest while you look at the test. And you look at the test and it's negative. I mean, that's like jumping off the Empire State Building. That's how quickly you go down. And it hurts so bad, so bad. Like I've become afraid of pregnancy tests. Like seriously, like they're not my friends. Like it just really gives me a whole ton of anxiety. So that's not cool. Really traumatized. Like I'm not even making a joke. So I could not believe it. Like I could not believe that I wasn't pregnant. Like I could not. I'm gonna be honest, I even got mad at God. Like, who plays a joke like this? Like, who does this? Who plays with people's emotions like this? Like what? So now during that period, I found out something, doing research and reading and everything else. And I had already had this progesterone test that I had bought here at Walmart a few months before. So while I was waiting no, that wasn't that time. So anyway, period came, devastated. I lost my marbles. Took me like a week to recover. Okay? A lot of wine involved. So that happens and we keep trying, right? So now we're trying and still nothing. So we're just trying to go on about regular life. But I'm telling you that trying to get pregnant and not talking about it and not, you know, I'm just going to just leave it to chance. That's a lie. To me anyway. Because there's no way it's not in the back of your head every single time. All right. So fast forward to 2023. And I decided, like, listen, I really need to get serious about this baby business. Like, let's just go ahead with IVF. So I made my appointment to Shady Grove Fertility because my insurance covered it. It's close to work. It's right here in Orlando. And they were just opening up a new clinic here in Orlando when I was calling for my consult. Had my consult. He looked at all my tests, all my blood work, everything. So we redid whatever. Sonograms, saline ultrasounds, and checked for my tubes. That's when I find out that one of my left tube that got repaired during my tubal reversal became blocked all of a sudden. Now, every other test that I have done previously with Shady Grove, my tubes were clear. So in a matter of less than a year, my tube got blocked, right? I mean, having that test done was so painful. And I was just devastated. And then come to find out, that's why I kept getting that pain in my left side, right? During my ovulation, I started putting 2 and 2 together that equaled fish. And that pain on my left side is that I keep ovulating on the side that my tube is blocked. So of course you're not going to get pregnant like that. So every month I'm going through this trying process, and basically it's for nothing. You know what I mean? So Dr. Davis sees 1 to 2 follicle, and he's like, oh, well, you know, I don't know about going into a retrieval because, you know, right now at baseline, I'm only seeing 1 to 2 follicles. So we're really just looking at, you know, you might not produce that many eggs. I mean, still not telling me that I have chance of going through retrieval and coming up with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 eggs, you know? So I actually start joining these Facebook groups at the time, but I'm still not going crazy about it. I'm still not on it all the time because I'm trying to protect my mental at this point. You know, I'm scared, and I'm like, I can't go into that complete absorption of the of fertility world, because like it's a different world. So I don't know why. But he convinced me, not convinced me, but there was a talk of an IUI. And I'm sitting here now talking to you, girl, and I don't know what possessed me. But anyway, so IUI was. And we had an IUI, and there I went, and I spent about another $1,000 on medication and everything else, and I'm hopeful again. And again, it's negative. So then now I'm upset, and I'm taking another break, and now he prescribes me more Clomid and then Letrozole, and he's like, you know, if you guys want to try it home on your own, you can. So, you know, I took the Clomid by myself without doing all the monitoring and everything else, and we're home trying, and of course my period is late, so I'm thinking it worked when it didn't. The Clomid delayed my period. But here's what I found out. I used that kit that I told you about earlier that I had bought here at Walmart and tested my progesterone. And everything was fine. So I believed that the egg fertilized. And it did its traveling and it did its thing. And exactly on day 21, that progesterone dropped. I mean, my progesterone was high. And I was taking suppositories. Progesterone dropped. You hear me? Like, woo, like bad. And at that moment, I just knew. I was like, oh my God. So we went and we did a 21-day, no. So I told him what happened. He told me, oh, well, then that means you have a progesterone deficiency, blah, 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 blah. And we went again for another IUI. Now, here's what I do know about Shady Grove. Like, according to the numbers that they gave me, it was really, really expensive, right? But why didn't they at least push me to do a retrieval and a transfer? I don't know. I think God has a plan, and Shady Grove is not who I was supposed to be doing this with. You know, so we go through all of that, and I'm tired. Now I'm telling my husband, I'm tired. I can't do this anymore. And he was like, okay. And you know, my husband is really supportive and loves me a ton. And he said, listen, we don't have to keep trying. If it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, I'm happy with the kids that I have, which is mine's and his oldest daughter, which is 25. And he was like, well, just have grandbabies. So I'm like, all right. Now my grandbaby lives with me. That's my doo-wops. So a week later, I get back on a horse. So now I'm calling my insurance to do IVF. Why my insurance tells me that they do not, even though I have fertility coverage, they don't cover IVF treatment for women over 45. 44 was the cutoff age. And I was just like, what? I had turned 45 like the month before. Crazy. So now I had thousands of dollars in fertility coverage, and I had $10,000 in medical fertility medicine coverage. That just, why? You know what I mean? And just a lot of things just didn't go right. Like, I don't understand why Shady Grove did not put my medication through my insurance. Like, I paid out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, looking back in retrospect, right? Crazy. So, anywho, here's what happened, girl. Me and my husband are doing all of that, and I decided to check out CNY. They came up on my feed, on Facebook. And when I saw that you can have IVF treatment with them for $4,000, like $39.95, I was like, this is a scam. It's got to be a scam. So I called and I asked a ton of questions, and I still felt like it was a scam, because no way. Like, if I would have known about CNY 2 years ago, first of all, why didn't my GYN tell me that I did not need to have a tubal reversal to do IVF? Why didn't he tell me that my best chances are to go straight into IVF, don't even bother to do an IUI, and you don't need to have your tubes untied for this, that, and the third? Like, it just didn't tell me. I didn't have options. Like, every appointment, every first consult was always about donor eggs, and nobody even explained donor eggs to me in depth. Okay, so that is just crazy and unfair. So I find my angel, CNY Fertility, and they have offices everywhere. So I scheduled my consult for them, and this was like August, September, and I didn't have my consult. My consult with them wasn't scheduled until November. And I'm like, yeah, it was the end of August. And I'm like, what? This is when I was leaving Shady Grove. I called them. And every day I called to see if there was a cancellation. Every day. I think Mary Jo knows me by name. And every day I called. Hi, thank you for calling CNY Fertility. This is Mary Jo. Mary Jo, it's Suzette. Free. Oh, hey, Free, how are you? Did anybody cancel? No, not today. And that's what I did every day. And finally, in September, I called, and there was a cancellation. So we were able to get in, I think, like the following week or week and a half. So late September. And I had my appointment with Dr. Farishi, something like that, over the phone. Yeah, he was late calling. It was an hour. I was in the parking lot of Shady Grove, leaving then from picking up my medical records. And I spoke to him. I asked questions. I asked, what is this? And what is that? And what is donor eggs? And what's the reason why I can't have kids with my own? And he said, there's no reason why you can't have kids of your own. It's all up to whatever choice you want to make. If you want to try for kids of your own, you go ahead and you pay your fee. So, and I think I want to do a video on the fees for CNY. So he told me, he was like, you know, that includes your retrieval, your transfer, but it doesn't include your meds. And I think there was some other tests that weren't included. But since I had already just had all my tests done from Shady Grove, that saved me a ton. And time. Because I didn't have to have any of those done. I didn't have to have the mock transfer. I didn't have to have the saline ultrasound. I didn't have to have the HSG. I didn't have to have any more blood work. I didn't have to have anything else, because I had just did my infectious disease and everything with Shady Grove. My husband had his semen analysis. So I just forwarded them everything. And he had already had it by the time we had our consult. Some stuff, other stuff I was picking up that day. And he gave me my choices. He was like, you could go into that do a transfer and a retrieval, or you could go straight into donor eggs. And then I'm still shaky on donor eggs. But I'm like, where do I have the most chances to get pregnant in the shortest amount of time, right? Because if I can't handle like a negative pregnancy test, I can't handle IVF not working, right? Not knowing what everything entails. So he was like, he explained to me what donor eggs were. He explained to me this, that, and the third. I asked about a fresh day 3. So I left out of that consult the most informed I had ever been through this whole entire journey, and I was so happy. So then I called their donor egg department to speak to a coordinator, and I asked a ton of questions then too. And you know, brown eggs are scarce, all right? So there was a whole thing, me and her were like on the phone, and we had such an amazing time. Like, these people at CNY have been the nicest to me ever. So I was left with choices, what to do. But we decided that we're gonna move forward with our IVF journey and paying out of pocket. So I clearly let my insurance go at work. I'm not redoing that, because like, what's the point of paying all this money in insurance just for you not to be qualified for this, doesn't cover that? Because it's all good when you're first signing up to the insurance. It seems like they sell you a dream, and it and after you meet deductibles and blah, blah, blah. And they don't tell you anything, because I keep getting bills from places, like down to LabCorp, right? So yeah, so that's that journey, okay? And then the next video, I'm going to tell you about everything that I've learned so far, and I'm gonna figure out how to edit this stuff so that I can put pictures of the CNY facility. I love. So it's just a ton. So I think my next video is gonna be everything CNY. Okay, so for now, that's it. I don't want to overwhelm you guys and bore you, but that's where we're at in our fertility journey right now. It's CNY fertility. All right, so my name is Free. I want to thank you so much for watching me all the way through. Thank you for subscribing. Please don't forget to like the video so that, you know, more moms 45 and IVF get to see this. All right, girl, I'll call you back later. Bye.